As we age, there's one truth that becomes harder to ignore. Loss of muscle mass isn't just about aesthetics or strength. It's about longevity, independence, and quality of life. And one of the clearest indicators of declining vitality in older adults is leg strength. Why? Because our legs carry us through life. They hold our weight, fuel our mobility, and prevent dangerous falls. Now, we typically talk about exercise, protein intake, and sleep, but what if I told you that something as simple as the tea you drink can actually play a meaningful role in preserving leg strength and boosting energy as you age? This isn't folklore, this is hard science, driven by polyphenols, catechins, mitochondrial activators, and anti-inflammatory agents that can transform the health of aging muscle fibers. Today, I want to walk you through the top 3 teas that I recommend based on research for anyone over 60 who wants to optimize muscular strength, fight fatigue, and support long-term mobility. Let's dive in. When we talk about longevity, it's easy to fixate on things like blood pressure, cholesterol levels, or the number of candles on your birthday cake. But one of the most underappreciated yet powerful biomarkers of how well you're aging is something far simpler: the strength in your legs. It's not just about walking speed or the ability to get out of a chair without using your hands, though those are important. It's about what leg strength represents at a biological level. You see, as we age, we don't just lose muscle mass, we lose the intricate machinery that powers those muscles, the mitochondria, the neuromuscular junctions, and the hormonal signaling networks that coordinate contraction, repair, and endurance. Leg muscles are the largest muscle group in the body, and they're particularly sensitive to these age-related changes, which is why leg strength isn't just a matter of fitness, it's a window into how well your cellular systems are functioning. In studies tracking aging populations, leg strength has repeatedly emerged as a strong predictor of longevity, more so than even grip strength or cardiovascular markers in some cases. Seniors with more powerful lower limbs tend to have better balance, less risk of falling, greater independence, and even improved cognitive performance. Why? Because leg strength is a proxy for something deeper: metabolic resilience. When we walk, climb stairs, or even just stand up from a chair, our legs are doing more than just moving us. They are communicating with our brain, our heart, and our endocrine system. They release myokinase, small proteins produced by muscle tissue during contraction that act like messengers throughout the body. These molecules help regulate inflammation, blood sugar, even neuroplasticity in the brain. In essence, every step you take is like a tiny signal to your body to stay young. But here's where the problem begins. After the age of 30, most people begin losing muscle mass at a rate of 3–5% per decade if they don't intervene. This process, called sarcopenia, accelerates after age 60. This isn't just a cosmetic issue. The loss of leg strength is tightly associated with increased insulin resistance, higher rates of frailty, and, importantly, a greater likelihood of losing independence. In the blue zones, those rare areas of the world where people routinely live to 100, leg function is often preserved well into the 80s and 90s, and it's not due to miracle supplements or secret exercises. It's due to consistent daily movement, nutrient-rich diets, and low inflammation, all of which keep leg muscles metabolically active. So why focus so much on tea when we're talking about leg strength? Because while exercise is essential, there are additional tools, especially dietary bioactives, that can support the underlying systems that power your muscles. The teas I recommend don't build muscle on their own. What they do is reduce inflammation, enhance mitochondrial function, and support blood flow and glucose utilization in skeletal muscle. In other words, they help your leg muscles work more efficiently and recover faster after use. Think about it, the average senior may not be able to lift weights 5 times a week, but they can brew tea every day. And when that tea is rich in compounds like EGCG, curcumin, or aspalathin, those molecules start to modify gene expression, protect mitochondria from oxidative damage, and modulate key signaling pathways like AMPK and mTOR. Over time, that translates to more efficient muscle preservation. Let's also not forget the role of blood circulation. As we age, the capillaries that feed our muscles with oxygen and nutrients tend to degrade. This limits performance and accelerates fatigue. Poor circulation in the lower limbs can lead to cramps, weakness, or even nerve damage. But certain polyphenols found in teas like ginger, turmeric, and green tea have been shown to support endothelial function, the health of the inner lining of blood vessels. By improving nitric oxide production and reducing arterial stiffness, these compounds help ensure your leg muscles actually receive the oxygen and glucose they need during activity. There's also the matter of balance and coordination, which rely heavily on lower limb strength. A strong set of quadriceps and calves can compensate for age-related declines in vestibular function or proprioception, both of which affect stability. This is why older adults with weak legs are far more likely to experience falls, and why those falls are far more likely to be catastrophic. A fractured hip at 70 can shorten lifespan more dramatically than most chronic diseases. And it's never too late. Muscle is one of the most plastic tissues in the human body. Even individuals in their 70s or 80s can rebuild leg strength through moderate resistance training and strategic nutrition. And by incorporating teas that reduce inflammation and support muscle energetics, you enhance your body's ability to adapt and regenerate. So when I say leg strength is a biomarker of healthy aging, I mean it in the most literal sense. It tells us how well your mitochondria are functioning. It reflects your hormonal balance, your inflammatory status, your neurological integrity, and even your risk of chronic disease. And more importantly, it predicts your ability to live independently, to move without assistance, and to engage in the world on your own terms. In my lab, we focus on molecules that can delay the hallmarks of aging, things like DNA damage, mitochondrial decline, and stem cell exhaustion. But you don't need a pharmaceutical to start moving in the right direction. Sometimes, it begins with something as simple as what's in your cup, and every step you take after that. That's your body answering the call to stay strong. If there's a single organelle that determines how fast we age and how strong we remain as the years pass, it's the mitochondrion. These tiny powerhouses inside our cells are responsible for generating the energy we need to move, think, repair, and regenerate. The more efficient and abundant your mitochondria, the more resilient your muscles, especially those in your legs, will be. This is where matcha green tea becomes especially intriguing. Matcha is not your ordinary tea. Unlike steeped green tea, where leaves are discarded after brewing, matcha involves consuming the entire leaf in powdered form. This makes it exponentially richer in antioxidants, particularly EGCG or epigallocatechin gallate. EGCG is a polyphenol that doesn't just fight free radicals, it interacts directly with gene regulators involved in energy metabolism and cellular stress response. One of the most exciting effects of EGCG is its ability to activate a cellular energy sensor known as AMPA, short for AMP-activated protein kinase. Think of AMPA as a molecular thermostat that tells your cells to use energy more efficiently, burn fat, and recycle damaged components. This is the same pathway that's triggered by intermittent fasting, cold exposure, and exercise, all proven methods of extending health span. When AMPA is turned on, your mitochondria are encouraged to produce more ATP, the currency of cellular energy, while simultaneously cleaning house through a process called mitophagy, recycling old or dysfunctional mitochondria. Matcha helps slow this decline. In preclinical models, EGCG has been shown to improve mitochondrial biogenesis, the creation of new mitochondria, through the activation of PGC-9-alpha, a master regulator of energy metabolism. In human observational studies, habitual green tea drinkers often demonstrate better physical function, higher activity levels, and a reduced risk of age-related diseases, including cardiovascular conditions that indirectly affect muscle health by impairing circulation. But there's more. EGCG is also a known sirtuin activator. Sirtuins are a family of longevity-associated genes that I've spent much of my career studying. These proteins help regulate DNA repair, mitochondrial function, inflammation, and overall cellular homeostasis. By supporting sirtuin activity, especially SIRT1, EGCG acts as a kind of nutritional mimic of caloric restriction, inducing many of the same beneficial responses without requiring a drastic change in diet. That means more energy, less inflammation, and stronger muscles, all from a simple cup of tea. Let's talk energy. Fatigue is one of the most common complaints among older adults. And it's not just a lifestyle issue, it's deeply biological. When mitochondria falter, muscles don't get the fuel they need, and energy reserves drop. This makes tasks like climbing stairs or walking long distances feel harder and discourages movement, which further accelerates decline. This negative spiral, less energy leading to less activity, which leads to more muscle loss, is a vicious cycle that matcha may help interrupt. By enhancing mitochondrial output, Matcha essentially helps your muscle cells run cleaner, leaner, and longer. There's also evidence that matcha supports vascular health, which is crucial for aging legs. The catechins in green tea have been shown to improve endothelial function, the ability of blood vessels to dilate and contract efficiently. Better blood flow means more oxygen and nutrients delivered to leg muscles during activity. It also means faster removal of metabolic waste products like lactic acid, reducing soreness and speeding recovery. For seniors who want to remain mobile and active, this matters more than most realize. Blood flow is the delivery system of regeneration. Without it, nothing heals. Now you may be wondering, can a tea really do all this? It's important to understand that matcha is not a miracle. It doesn't replace exercise or protein or sleep, but what it does is support the biological infrastructure that allows all those things to work better. It makes the muscle-building signals of resistance training more effective. It helps your body metabolize protein more efficiently. It promotes mitochondrial turnover during rest. In short, it helps the body respond like a younger version of itself. And this, ultimately, is the essence of longevity science. We're not trying to live forever. We're trying to extend the period of life in which we are strong, capable, and autonomous. That means walking without pain, climbing stairs without hesitation, bending down to pick up your grandchild without fear of falling. These are not small victories, they are the hallmarks of successful aging. Incorporating matcha into your daily routine is one of the simplest, most evidence-based ways to support those goals. A small cup, rich in mitochondrial nutrients, taken consistently over time, becomes a tool of transformation. It's not about chasing youth, but about protecting function. Because at the end of the day, the ability to stand, walk, and move freely is one of the greatest determinants of how we experience our later years. So yes, matcha boosts mitochondrial function. But more than that, it helps preserve the very thing we often take for granted, the strength to move through life with confidence. And that, in my view, is one of the most powerful longevity interventions of all. One of the most pervasive yet silent accelerators of aging is chronic inflammation. Unlike acute inflammation, your body's short-term immune response to injury or infection, chronic inflammation is slow-burning, insidious, and often goes unnoticed until its effects are irreversible. In the scientific community, we now refer to this process as inflammaging. It's a low-grade, persistent inflammatory state that builds with age and has been implicated in nearly every major disease of aging: heart disease, Alzheimer's, type 2 diabetes, and most relevant here, sarcopenia, the age-related loss of muscle mass and strength. When it comes to muscle health, especially in the legs, chronic inflammation interferes with the body's ability to regenerate tissue. It blunts anabolic signaling, impairs insulin sensitivity, and increases oxidative stress in muscle fibers. This is where ginger and turmeric tea can offer extraordinary support, not as a replacement for exercise or nutrition, but as a targeted molecular-level intervention that reduces inflammation and aids recovery. Let's start with turmeric. Its active compound, curcumin, is one of the most potent natural anti-inflammatories ever studied. Unlike pharmaceutical anti-inflammatories, curcumin doesn't merely suppress symptoms, it modulates inflammatory pathways at the genetic level. Specifically, it inhibits NF-κB, a transcription factor that acts like a master switch for pro-inflammatory cytokine production. When NF-κB is overactive, it promotes the expression of genes that lead to tissue degradation, muscle wasting, and systemic inflammation. By dampening this response, curcumin essentially tells your immune system to calm down, to stop overreacting in a way that accelerates aging. This is particularly beneficial for older adults whose immune systems often remain chronically activated, even without infection. The result is a more balanced internal environment where muscle cells can repair, grow, and adapt following activity or injury. Ginger, on the other hand, offers complementary benefits. Its primary bioactive compound, gingerol, not only supports anti-inflammatory activity but also improves circulation and metabolic health. Gingerol has been shown to reduce levels of C-reactive protein, CRP, a key marker of systemic inflammation, while enhancing insulin sensitivity, two critical elements in preserving leg muscle function. Insulin, after all, is an anabolic hormone. When tissues become resistant to insulin signals, as often happens in older adults, muscle cells lose their ability to efficiently take up glucose and amino acids. This reduces energy production, blunts muscle protein synthesis, and increases fat accumulation in muscle tissue, a dangerous combination that weakens the legs from the inside out. When consumed together, ginger and turmeric create a synergy that enhances bioavailability and amplifies their protective effects. In fact, piperine, found in black pepper and often combined with turmeric in golden tea recipes, boosts curcumin absorption by up to 2,000%, further elevating its therapeutic potential. The combination not only cools inflammation but also enhances mitochondrial activity, increases antioxidant defenses, and supports endothelial function, all of which are essential for muscle preservation and energy in aging legs. But beyond the molecular details, there's a physiological truth we must acknowledge: aging muscles heal more slowly. Recovery from a simple walk or a short stair climb that would have been effortless in your 30s can now take hours or days. The micro tears that form during movement, which are necessary for muscle growth and adaptation, linger longer in an inflamed system. Instead of rebuilding stronger, the muscle becomes stiff, weak, or prone to injury. Ginger-turmeric tea acts as a supportive ally here, accelerating the resolution of inflammation so that your body can shift into repair mode faster. And there's another layer to this story. Vascular support. Turmeric and ginger both have vasodilatory effects, meaning they help blood vessels relax and improve circulation. This is crucial for aging legs because blood flow is the delivery mechanism for all regenerative inputs: oxygen, nutrients, stem cells, hormones. If your blood vessels are stiff or inflamed, your muscles essentially become nutrient-starved. They can't repair or function optimally. By supporting endothelial health, ginger-turmeric tea ensures that your leg muscles get the resources they need to stay strong and recover quickly. The practical impact of all this can't be overstated. Studies have shown that older adults who consume turmeric or ginger regularly experience improvements in walking speed, muscle soreness, and joint pain. In one trial, elderly women who took curcumin supplements had significantly better muscle strength and lower markers of inflammation compared to those who didn't. And while tea may deliver a lower dose than supplements, it also brings with it a daily ritual, something that's easy to adopt, soothing to the senses, and sustainable over time. Because sustainability is key. Aging well isn't about extreme measures, it's about small, consistent choices that shift your biology day by day. A warm cup of ginger-turmeric tea in the morning or evening can gradually recalibrate your inflammatory balance, support your mitochondrial health, and create the internal conditions your muscles need to thrive. Now, imagine pairing this with moderate leg-focused movement. Simple things, like standing from a chair without using your hands, doing heel raises while brushing your teeth, or walking after meals. You're not just maintaining muscle, you're building resilience at the cellular level. You're pushing back against the entropy of aging with every sip, every step. So while it may seem like a humble beverage, ginger-turmeric tea represents something powerful, a daily, evidence-informed decision to reduce inflammation, support muscle recovery, and protect the very systems that keep us standing. And for those seeking not just to extend life, but to enhance the quality of every year lived, this is where you start. In the landscape of longevity science, we often focus on compounds that stimulate energy metabolism, activate sirtuins, and reduce oxidative stress, biological interventions that enhance the way we age at the cellular level. But when it comes to the practical realities of aging, especially for seniors dealing with muscle loss, fatigue, and sleep disturbances, there's a quiet hero that rarely gets the attention it deserves: Rooibos tea. Rooibos, pronounced Rooibos, is a naturally caffeine-free herbal infusion made from the leaves of the Aspalathus linearis plant native to South Africa. At first glance, it seems gentle, even modest, but beneath its deep red hue lies a pharmacological profile that speaks directly to some of the most pressing challenges of aging, particularly the preservation of muscle strength, hormonal balance, and metabolic efficiency in the absence of caffeine-related stimulation. For older adults who are sensitive to caffeine, and many are, Rooibos offers a compelling alternative. Unlike green tea or coffee, which can raise cortisol levels and disrupt sleep cycles, Rooibos allows the body to experience restorative benefits without overstimulation. Moreover, aspalathin has demonstrated a unique ability to regulate glucose metabolism. In animal studies, it improves insulin sensitivity and enhances glucose uptake into skeletal muscle cells. This matters greatly because muscle is a glucose-hungry tissue. It needs a constant supply of energy to maintain tone, support movement, and fuel recovery. But in many older adults, insulin resistance becomes a barrier. The muscle doesn't respond to insulin's call, and instead of using glucose efficiently, it stores fat and becomes sluggish. Rooibos helps interrupt this cycle quietly, without caffeine and without risk of overstimulation. There's another less discussed benefit that makes Rooibos uniquely suited for aging populations: its impact on adrenal health and hormonal balance. Unlike caffeine, which stimulates the adrenal glands and elevates cortisol, the body's primary stress hormone, Rooibos has an adaptogenic effect. It calms the nervous system and supports the hypothalamic, pituitary, adrenal, HPA axis, critical for hormonal resilience. For seniors, especially those dealing with chronic stress, poor sleep, or inflammation-induced hormonal decline, this calming effect can be profoundly restorative. Why does this matter for muscle? Because hormones like testosterone, DHEA, and growth hormone all play a vital role in maintaining lean mass. And these hormones are highly sensitive to stress and sleep quality. Elevated cortisol levels break down muscle, increase abdominal fat, and accelerate the loss of anabolic drive in the body. By helping regulate the stress response, Rooibos indirectly supports the endocrine environment that allows muscle to be built and preserved, particularly in the legs where age-related muscle wasting hits the hardest. Let's turn to blood flow. Rooibos has also demonstrated vasodilatory properties, meaning it helps blood vessels relax, which in turn improves circulation. This effect, while subtle, has real implications for aging legs. Improved circulation means more oxygen and nutrients can reach muscle tissues, especially during and after activity. It also facilitates the removal of waste products like lactic acid, reducing soreness and improving recovery. This is particularly important for older adults who may already have compromised vascular function due to age-related arterial stiffness or endothelial dysfunction. You might be surprised to learn that Rooibos has also shown potential neuroprotective properties. In several preclinical studies, Rooibos extract was associated with improved mitochondrial activity in the brain, reduced neuroinflammation, and protection against oxidative damage to neurons. This is important in the context of leg strength because the neuromuscular junction, the interface between nerve and muscle, begins to degrade with age. As this communication breaks down, muscle fibers lose their signal to contract, leading to weakness and instability. A tea that supports both muscle and neural health offers a dual advantage, enhancing not just physical strength but also coordination and balance. In animal models of aging, rodents given Rooibos extract maintained higher levels of endurance and demonstrated better coordination during treadmill testing compared to control groups. While human studies are still developing, the biological plausibility of these findings is strong. And perhaps most importantly, Rooibos is gentle enough to become a daily habit that matters, because when it comes to health span, the period of life lived in good health, it's not the single heroic intervention that makes the difference. It's the daily habits that add up, slowly shifting your biology toward resilience. A nightly cup of Rooibos can serve as both a ritual and a remedy. It helps prepare the body for deep, restorative sleep, lowers the biochemical stress load, and nourishes the very systems that maintain strong functional legs. This becomes especially significant when we think about the real-world experience of aging. Maintaining leg strength isn't just a fitness goal, it's the difference between rising from a chair without help, walking without a cane, or avoiding a devastating fall. It's about freedom, independence, and dignity. Rooibos won't replace strength training or nutrient-dense meals, but it can enhance the body's internal readiness to build and sustain muscle. It supports the quiet background processes, hormonal signaling, inflammation control, mitochondrial efficiency that determine whether your legs grow stronger or weaker with time. So if you're over 60, struggling with fatigue, sensitive to caffeine, or simply looking for a sustainable way to support leg strength and overall energy, Rooibos tea deserves your attention, not because it's trendy, but because it aligns perfectly with the principles of aging. Well, low inflammation, steady energy, hormonal balance, and cellular resilience. It's a simple intervention, but one with a profoundly wide ripple effect. And in longevity, those are often the best kind. In the field of longevity science, we tend to focus on the big levers: genetic reprogramming, metabolic interventions, pharmaceutical advances. But what often gets overlooked are the small, seemingly insignificant daily habits that gradually bend the trajectory of aging. In reality, it's these micro decisions repeated consistently over time that shape our biological destiny. One such habit is as simple as it is powerful, the daily ritual of drinking tea. Now, tea is not a magic bullet. It won't undo years of poor lifestyle choices, nor will it replace resistance training or a nutrient-rich diet. But when strategically selected and integrated into a long-term lifestyle, certain teas can support the foundational systems that govern aging, mitochondrial health, inflammation, hormonal signaling, and metabolic resilience. In this way, a small habit like tea drinking becomes a daily nudge toward improved leg strength, higher energy, and longer health span. Our legs are not just responsible for locomotion. They are reservoirs of metabolic activity and endocrine signaling. They're also among the first systems to decline with age. As sarcopenia sets in, circulation diminishes, and mitochondrial output wanes. But muscle loss doesn't happen all at once. It's a gradual erosion, almost imperceptible at first, that accelerates with sedentary behavior and poor recovery. And because it occurs so slowly, it often escapes our attention until one day we find stairs harder to climb or walking more tiring than it used to be. This is exactly where daily habits come in. A small change repeated consistently can slow or even reverse this trajectory. The teas we've explored, Matcha, Ginger-Turmeric, Rooibos, don't rebuild muscle directly, but they influence the internal environment in which muscle thrives. They reduce chronic inflammation that would otherwise degrade tissue. They enhance mitochondrial function to produce more ATP for movement. They improve blood flow, glucose regulation, and hormonal balance systems essential for preserving leg strength and vitality. When you adopt the ritual of drinking tea, especially functional teas backed by scientific evidence, you're signaling to your body that recovery matters, that nourishment matters, and that you're committed to creating the conditions for long-term health. But it's not just about the compounds in the tea. The ritual itself plays a role in longevity. In neuroscience, we know that routines and structured behaviors create neural patterns that reduce stress and enhance consistency. And when a health-promoting activity becomes automatic, like boiling water and steeping tea at the same time each day, you're far more likely to adhere to it over the long haul. That consistency is where the real power lies. Consider this: the bioactive compounds in green tea, e.g. CG, turmeric, curcumin, ginger, gingerol, and rooibos, asparlathin, don't act in isolation. Their effects accumulate over time. EGCG, for example, stimulates AMPK and enhances mitochondrial function, but its full benefits manifest when taken consistently, not sporadically. Curcumin's anti-inflammatory effects build with regular intake. Rooibos doesn't create hormonal stability overnight, but it supports adrenal health gradually through reduced cortisol exposure. In other words, these are compounding molecules, like compound interest in finance. Their benefits are modest day to day, but significant over years. The body adapts to their presence, integrates them into cellular pathways, and gradually shifts toward greater efficiency and resilience. That's how small daily habits like tea drinking subtly but powerfully influence longevity. Another critical point is that these teas offer a non-invasive, low-risk intervention. Many pharmaceutical strategies for muscle loss or energy improvement come with side effects, some mild, others serious. But a tea, it's gentle, accessible, and scalable. The other beauty of a tea ritual is its psychological and behavioral anchoring. In behavioral science, we talk about habit stacking, attaching a new behavior to an existing habit to increase adoption. Tea can be that anchor. So while it may sound trivial to say that tea can improve your health, the science says otherwise. When you choose the right teas, those rich in polyphenols, antioxidants, and anti-inflammatory compounds, you are feeding your cells information. You are directing gene expression. You are stabilizing hormones. You are creating internal conditions where muscle tissue can remain active and energy can be sustained. Over the years, I've seen countless examples of patients and individuals who underestimated the power of these micro-interventions. They think only in terms of big wins, a new medication, a breakthrough surgery, a dramatic lifestyle overhaul. But real longevity isn't built on dramatic swings. It's built on daily disciplines, on quiet decisions, on rituals that align with your biology and serve you every day, even when no one's watching. So, the next time you prepare a cup of tea, don't think of it as a drink. Think of it as a message to your cells, a signal that you're prioritizing healing, strength, and function. that you're not willing to let time dictate your decline, that you're building a foundation. One cup, one day, one choice at a time for a body and mind that continues to serve you well into the decades ahead. Because the truth is, aging doesn't begin at 60 or 70 or 80. It begins every day you decide to stop investing in your future, and it's reversed every day you choose to start again with something as simple and profound as tea.